Is the global spokesperson for the UN's High Commissioner for Refugees, and he joins us now from Geneva. Welcome to the News Hour. Now, the UN is calling this a full-scale humanitarian crisis. What exactly does that mean when, we compare the situation in Yemen, for example?
It is indeed another sad and tragic story for humanity overall. We, as humanitarians, as UNHCR, we are present on the Sudanese side, where we are receiving thousands of desperate people who are fleeing this fighting and clashes. So it all started with a trickle on the 10th of November, and within days the pace picked up. So now every day thousands are crossing, coming into Sudan, into remote parts of Sudan. We see women, we see children, and many stories. People are saying they're fighting, fleeing heavy fighting, and this part of the Sudan, this hasn't seen such an influx in the last 20 years. So what's unfolding in front of our eyes is a humanitarian crisis, which can only get worse if the fighting doesn't stop.
So what are your priorities right now, given that we're 2 weeks into the fighting? It started as a trickle, as you just said.
The fear is, if it goes on, we could be receiving thousands more. It's overwhelming, the humanitarian response on these remote border points inside Sudan. UNHCR is working with the Sudanese authorities and the government. We have been rushing their staff and resources, but the sheer number is just overwhelming the response. So the immediate needs of these desperate people is water, is food, is shelter. We are trying to move some of the refugees away from the border point because they're still afraid, scared, and many have come with really bad memories.
And Mr. Baloch, we talk a lot about the people fleeing from Ethiopia into Sudan, but what about the people in Tigray? We know there's no electricity, no communication with them. So can you actually get in to help them?
Indeed, that's a point of concern as well. We humanitarians, the United Nations and UNHCR, we have been asking for unconditional and unhindered access to the area because there are, even before the conflict started, there were 100,000 Ethiopians who were internally displaced over there. We have 4 refugee camps of Eritrean refugees with more than 96,000 Eritrean refugees in them. We're really worried for them. The fighting was getting close to one of the refugee camps. So it's very important for the sake of humanity to have that access and try to support those desperate people. Once again, this chapter shows that what war does best, what conflict does best, it brings more misery, and it makes human misery and makes people to run for their lives as refugees.
Mr. Babar Baloch, we wish you and your team the best of luck with your work. Thank you for making time for us today.